Hello, I'm James Diamond with GlockCNC.com, and what we'll be talking about today will be the motors that we offer for the Sherline products, the Taig products, however those are pronounced, the T-A-I-G. I should call the factory and find out how to say that anyway. And the motors will also be available for the Chinese X2 mini mill and their mini lathe. That's the 7x10, 7x12, 7x14. These will be available for those shortly. Now, if you're watching this video and you see a green screen behind me, it's probably because I bought the green screen technology thinking it'd be awesome and I didn't figure out how to use it. If you see a really cool background behind me, you'll know that I have a green screen and I figured out how to use it. Okay, let's talk about the motors and what's the difference between these motors and the stock Sherline motor. The stock Sherline motors are great for your basic hobby needs and kind of your simple hobbyist needs. So they range, from obviously 0 to, oh boy, I think those might be a 2800 RPM motor. I could be wrong on that. But the power wise, they're around like 200 watts. I think 240 watts. The motors that we offer are much larger than that. And the reason we came up with those was because we needed something with more power, because as we used a lathe in particular, we would go in to make a cut and the thing would really bog down. Plus we needed something we could use in a commercial environment because we were using these things like all the time. So what we did is we ended up developing motors and motor mounts for the Sherline. Our motors are a 600 watt, an 800 watt, 1000 watt, and 1400 watt. And while on the surface some may say, well, that's quite a bit of overkill for something like that, the reality of it actually is, oddly enough, we discovered that kind of power is very useful, and there's actually a lot of people out there who buy even like the 1400 watt because they're using them in commercial applications, and they're using the headstock and motors not just on the Sherline products, but they're using them in their own custom applications. So the extra power is really a great thing for them. Now, what you'll see right here, these are actually the 800 watt neodymium models. The 600 watt looks a little different since they use more of a standard magnet. They'll be a little taller, or on a lathe be a little bit longer. The 800 watts very compact, and as you'll probably notice from the controllers sitting here on the table, all of our controllers are mounted externally from the motor itself. Now, you adjust the speed by turning the rotary knob that's on the side. And now we also do have CNC control. The CNC controlled, you'll need on your breakout board 2 pins available because it's controlled like a stepper motor would be. It uses step directions to actually control the spindle motor if you get this motor from us. These motors are all housed in aluminum and they all have a fan in them. They are built actually to run constantly. They're continuous duty brushless motors. Another one of the differences between the Sherline stock motor and our motors is the Sherline motor is a brushed motor. These are brushed motors, and these are actually designed to run continuous duty for a very, very, very long lifetime since they're designed to operate in a commercial environment. Now, the motors, of course, if you're running them all day long, they are going to get warm, but again, they do have the fans in them, and what I will tell you is that if you're like flinging a lot of chips around, which you probably will be, you might want to put something either on the mill on the top or the lathe on the side so that it's not sucking in chips and junk and getting all caught up in the fan inside of there. The mounts on them are different for the neodymium models. The neodymium magnet models are the 800, 1000, and 1400. The mounts actually have screws here. You'll see these socket head screws. Now how those are adjusted is, I'm going to tilt this up a little bit so you can see on the lathe. There's 4 screws here. Okay, only these 2 screws right here closest to the motor are the ones that are adjusted to move the motor back and forth here in parallel with this on the bed. That's to adjust the motor pulleys slot right here, the groove for that belt, so you can adjust it to the groove that's on the spindle belt. Now you'll tension the motor through, there's 4 socket heads right here. You'll move the motor, you'll loosen these, and you can move the motor in and out to tension the actual belt itself. So it's real simple. The actual mounting system is pretty robust, so it'll last you forever, obviously. Now, also, one of the things I should mention too, that if you're ordering the motor separate from the headstock, because we do sell, as you'll notice, these are ER converted headstocks on here, and that's another product that we offer. If you order the motor with the ER headstock, we usually ship them already attached. If you've ordered the motor separate from the headstock, then what you'll get is it'll come in actually two basic pieces. You'll have this mount set up right here, and then you'll have the motor mounting plate that connects to the headstock itself. So what you'll do is you'll use the two socket head screws. You'll mount this plate to your headstock, and then there's two more screws right here on the side that will mount the motor. The easiest way to do this is kind of shimmy the belt around the spindle pulley as you're moving the motor into place, and then use these two socket head screws to screw on the motor. And then you'll finally, fine tune with the screws on the back here or the side to adjust the tension and make sure your motor's lined up with the right groove. Now, the power source for these is in the back, right here. This is where you plug it in. I neglected to grab one of the external switches that we have. We have an external switch box to turn these on that also has a fuse in them. Something else I do need to let you know too, the 600 watt and 800 watt, those come in either 110 volt or 220 volt. Now the 1000 watt and the 1400 watt, those only come in 220 volt versions. So if you like what you've seen and you're interested in getting more power to your mill or your lathe or whatever your custom application is, head on over to glockcnc.com. And also, while you're there, make sure you sign up for the newsletter, because we've got some really cool stuff that is coming out very shortly here, and we'll always be producing really cool stuff. So sign up for the newsletter so you can get all the updates on it. And I shall talk to you later. My name is James. Look forward to more videos, and check out also our blog too for more information. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.